We were kind of forced, our hand was forced a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm happy.
Thankfully, we didn't have to make that choice.
Yeah, and I'm happy that we are able to cover at least one of our ducklings.
Indeed, and we are going to be kicking it off here on Tropical Sacrifice. We're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our blue Terran player coming out from the land of Mexico, as well as South Korea, representing Storm Gaming. He is SpeCial.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice, we have the American Terran himself representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Vindicta. Getting proxy.
Yeah, I love to see it. I was about to say, we've got two very cheeky Terran players on our hands, and yeah, I would have expected nothing less if our first game didn't open up with one of them proxying the other.
Yeah, I'm really excited because we have the student going up against the master. Of course, there have been a couple of streams. There are a couple of videos on YouTube as well of Juanito of SpeCial kind of coaching Vindicta and kind of paving the way to his success a little bit. So I'm sure these two players are very familiar with each other. But can Vindicta overcome the dominance that is SpeCial against SpeCial recently qualifying for the GSL Super Tournament?
Yeah, was a little bit of an upset, his final result in in DreamHack Latin America, but it does seem to have just been a one-off kind of aberration. Like you said, he's qualified once again for GSL Super Tournament, and he really is looking to reclaim his position here.
Yeah,
I'm sure he can't wait to get revenge on Cham later on.
It's one of those things where SpeCial for the first time in a long time has been dethroned in the land of the Latin Americas. Meanwhile, here we go. The first Reaper is going to be pushing up this ramp. It looks like SpeCial has shot first here, dishing out a little bit extra DPS on the Reaper of Vindicta, so he has to play this out very carefully. Has to wait for the second one to come out. Has to pull a couple of boys as well to tank whatever shots he can.
Yeah, not only shooting first, but also making use of that SCV he had, making the proxy just to add a little bit of a buffer between his own Reapers. SpeCial is not 100% committed, however. He will be backing away and just macroing up, teching up back home with a factory.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was only a single proxy rack, and we can see it's already lifted. Like, it's just to apply a little bit of pressure, just to try to, oh my god, just to try and throw Vindicta off here, as Vindicta's SCV across the map is killed. He needs to scout, though, because SpeCial throws down a second factory.
And it doesn't surprise me so much that SpeCial is going for mech, but what does surprise me is how quickly he decided that. Normally we see the second base up and running, fully saturated, before the Terran player makes the decision, do I play bio or do I play mech this game? SpeCial says, nah, double factory expand is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Relatively greedy. A lot of SCVs are going to be going down at the same time. Two Reapers of SpeCial try to go up the ramp here, but we have Automan, we have a Hellion as well. Vindicta is going to push this away, and SpeCial is losing a lot of workers.
Yeah, the Cyclone finally pops out and will be able to lock on one of these Reapers, but not before SpeCial loses 5 SCVs. A small deficit can really go a very long way in a mirror matchup.
Yeah, but you know what? Vindicta's still in one base. He is trying to expand. He's trying to regain or take a CC, but the racks has been lifted, has been landed. SpeCial is doing the most that he can to just be as annoying as possible, even though he has lost a lot of work, or SpeCial can catch up.
Yeah, especially if he's, the player who's able to land his orbital command first, get a couple of mules out first, etc., etc. Look at that, he's already catching up.
Yeah, and now we have a timing here. SpeCial is moving out with this Cyclones. Like, Vindicta's gonna have a hard time expanding. The Reaper is being hunted down, and it will be intercepted here by SpeCial. He gets a lock on. The Reaper is going to get picked off. Magfield Accelerators is on the way, and SpeCial still has control of the low ground. Like, Vindicta still has not expanded.
Is this just a straight up Cyclone rush? I don't think I've seen this before in a TVT.
Very unique here to SpeCial, but with the help of this tech, with that look on, another Reaper goes down. It looks like Vindicta should be able to expand. He has to be a little bit careful though, because of this high ground vision, there's a world where maybe SpeCial can get a bit of a lock on, especially with Magfield, and focus down that tank.
Yeah, it's also possible for SpeCial to, I don't know, maybe drop, land that barracks right on top of that tank, prevent any damage being taken, but still somehow deny the expansion. That has not happened yet this game, however. Oh, but kind of did. Vindicta taking a bit of a scuffed positioning there.
Yeah, it's not quite centered. Smooge feels bad, man. There we go. Now he's going to be able to land on location. That rack's taking a lot of damage, though. If it does go down, it does mean the Special's going to have to rebuild it to make more factories. The Cyclone's going to be able to get a couple of lock-ons as well, just forcing this back.
But does he want to build more factories, though? Yeah, he probably does. He's making a third base. This is by no means an all-in.
Yeah, we have more Cyclones on the way. We have a couple of Widow Mines as well. SpeCial taking a third base on location. You could argue very greedy play, but it makes sense just because Vindicta, there's no real way for him to really push out. SpeCial did scout earlier. He saw that Ravens were on the way, not really medevacs. I guess technically Vindicta could try and push out, but these Cyclones would just lock on and chip away at whatever they can.
Yeah, SpeCial has the complete map control right now. I think the only unit that Vindicta has that can really match the mobility of those Cyclones is this one Hellion. And what's that Hellion going to do against Cyclones?
Yeah, exactly. So Vindicta's going to be in the dark. He goes for a scan, confirming the production, confirming the lack of additional factories, at least in the main base. So that could tip him off as to the timing of a third CC. Also sees a reactor on that starport, and that is a little bit of a tell. But I imagine he's probably thinking Vikings, not so much straight into Liberators.
Yeah, it's... Again, more of the orthodox position is just to get that air control in a TVT and make sure you just make sure you have vision on your opponent to continue to shoot at them with Cyclones and with tanks as well. But I kind of like the logic here from SpeCial. He's saying, I have Cyclones. They shoot up.
Yeah.
I might as well get Liberators to support my Cyclones.
Yeah, like, why get more Vikings when I don't really need them right now? And this is a very unexpected move, as the Liberators are moving out to hit the natural and the main base. Vindicta could be pulled apart here. He hasn't really been able to see much of anything, as he finally just pushes SpeCial back, and he looks like, yeah, he's getting ready to push out across the map. Or at least establish
these little things, yeah. It's these little things that SpeCial does that, really adds up later down the line. I'm loving what he's doing with his mines. Just to both get a little bit of vision on the timing of Vindicta's expansions and also just deny scouting from Vindicta himself.
Yeah, speaking of denying, it looks like we have a Cyclone in the main base, so Liberator doesn't get sieged up, but the one in the natural does. Already 2 SCVs are going to be going down, but thankfully the Vikings are in position, and Vindicta is going to be able to clean this up.
Yeah, very quick SCV pull does mean that Vindicta is able to save the majority of his SCVs, but I'm looking at the worker difference right now, Light, and once again, 5 extra workers for SpeCial right now. Doesn't seem like a lot, but you gotta factor in the fact that both of these players have the same economy, or rather have the same economic tools. Great lock-ons for SpeCial, being able to take out the Cyclone and the Raven of Vindicta.
Yeah, that was a high-energy Raven as well, so a little bit of miscontrol there by Vindicta. He wasn't responding. He didn't even get to throw down a couple of auto turrets just to trade some DPS there. Ooh, almost loses a couple of Vikings as well. Just SpeCial getting so much value here with just a handful of Cyclones. And behind this, now we can finally get into his production. Now, finally, additional factories are being thrown down, armories as well. This was all delayed because of the faster CC, and this has paid for itself.
It absolutely has. SpeCial just going to continue to perpetually stay ahead, get this 4th base before Vindicta's really able to fully saturate his own 3rd.
Yeah, as Vindicta himself is getting into mech. We have 2 factories. We have a 3rd factory as well. There's Magfield accelerators. So, everyone, what have we done? Yaku, what have we stumbled ourselves into?
We thought we were going to cast nothing but TVP tonight. We immediately saw we had a TVT, and yeah, I guess this is what we signed up for.
Oh boy. it's gonna be a long day, Poppy. It's gonna be a long day. Shout out to these Hellions.
It'll be a long map.
Yeah. They do end up hugging these tanks. Gonna be a little bit annoying here, both scanning each other. We do see Vindicta having confirmation of the 4th base. So they are both playing mech, but Vindicta is just one step behind right now. SpeCial just being on top of his economy here. But because of the map itself, it is still really difficult to be aggressive and still difficult to break a defensive Terran.
Yeah, especially a defensive Terran that is getting tanks up on top of tanks on top of tanks.
Yeah, exactly, but I'm really looking forward to this because Vindicta, we were able to see some of his TVT showcased last week. I believe it was against Spirits, and he looked really solid on Cosmic Sapphire, and he had a unique spin on TVT Mech. I believe he went Mass, Blue Flame, Hellion, Cyclone, Lib, Widow Mine, he was really light on tanks. So I wonder if he plans to do something similar here as well.
Well, let me tell you something, Light. I see Blue Flame being researched.
True.
I see 2 Cyclones being produced. And I see 2 Liberators being produced. I also saw 1 Widow Mine going down, so...
Yeah, so if we compare our armies here, SpeCial does have a lead in the overall tanks, and he's going to try and flex that lead. He sees an opening, the 4th base is about to be taken, and SpeCial wants to try and stop that.
And we'll see if he's able to. Blue Flame is about to finish up for Vindicta as well. And we'll see if that's, you know, able to make up for the fact that Vindicta doesn't have that many tanks. What will always make up for a lack of tanks, though, is air control, and that is something that Vindicta absolutely has with all these Vikings and these Liberators. Loses a couple of his own tanks, but that's alright because he still has Vikings and the Liberators.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even though Vindicta is down at 3 tanks to 9 of SpeCial, SpeCial can't do anything about it because of these Liberators. He cannot push in. Vindicta, he only has 3 tanks, 2 of them down here at the 4th base, 1 at the 3rd, or 2 at the 3rd, 1 at the 4th.
You know, at first I thought you were saying, oh yeah, Vindicta's down 3 tanks. I'm like, that's not too bad, you know, good position can make up for that. No, you mean he actually has 3 tanks.
I just goes to show how powerful air superiority is here in this matchup. So Vindicta, he holds on, he gets his 4th base up and running, SpeCial forced to expand and take a 5th instead. And despite having that big supply advantage, he can't really flex it, he can't really use it, not yet at least, as he gets into 6 Vikings being produced at a time.
Yeah, once again, SpeCial really flexing his economic muscle here. He took an early lead, and it is paying off from all of these Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
Formation. That's glorious.
That's a lot of Vikings. We do see Vindicta being a little bit, you know, harassing a little bit here on the right-hand side of the map. But looking at the units tab, we have 18 Vikings here for SpeCial compared to the 12 of Vindicta. That is insane. And even though the Liberators were able to defend earlier, I don't know if they'll be able to defend for the 2nd time.
I'll tell you one thing SpeCial doesn't have that Vindicta does, though. 2 Ravens.
True.
May have the he may have the lead in Vikings right now, but a well-placed anti-armor missile can absolutely make up for a numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, it really can, but right now I feel like Vindicta's in the middle of transitioning right now. He's got Thors on the way, he's got more Vikings on the way. A couple of these Cyclones are going to be going down. Anti-armor missile does blanket the Vikings of SpeCial.
You can already see how powerful that is. SpeCial is forced to back away. A couple of auto turrets did get thrown down as well, just to add a little bit more DPS, but at the end of the day, Vindicta does not have enough here to really stem the tide of SpeCial. Instead, he goes for a bit of a run-by.
Yeah, he goes for a massive counterattack, but in come the Vikings of SpeCial with the numbers heavily in his favor. He's going to be able to dominate the skies. He's going to be able to dominate the ground as well, and the reinforcements of SpeCial do defend that 5th base.
Yeah, not before SpeCial loses 13 SCVs, though. Vindicta trading surprisingly well against these Vikings, thanks to the missile turrets and thanks to the auto turrets as well. But at the end of the day, SpeCial just has so much more.
He really does. Vindicta is double expanding though, so he can afford to lose this base. It's not going to be the biggest of deals. The problem is that from here, SpeCial does gain access to the natural, and then that's where Vindicta's going to be in trouble. So he's going to try and slow this down. He has a couple of tanks in position. He's going to trade as best he can and slow down the army of SpeCial. Ooh.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the weaknesses of this less tank-heavy style of Vindicta. Just doesn't have enough to stem the tide of, again, just stem the tide of the mech terror and just prevent the tanks of SpeCial and the Cyclones of SpeCial from just gaining ground.
Oh god, do we have a repair? Do we have a repair? It looks like the CC will barely not burn down. Vindicta does rotate over towards the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Meanwhile, so does SpeCial. At the same time, Blue Flame Hellions were going ham across the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that Vindicta is going for run-bys, and it's good that he is able to take out as many SCVs as he can, but SpeCial has so many bases. Ooh. He's recouping his losses so quickly. I think, let's take a look at the Workers Lost tab. SpeCial lost 32 SCVs compared to Vindicta's 11, and they're even on the worker count.
Yeah, but Vindicta, he just sandwiched the army. He just reset the tank count basically of SpeCial with the defender's advantage. Maybe Vindicta can be able to hold on, but ooh, he takes a lot of shots here to this Thor. The Liberators are really bullying Vindicta right now.
Yeah, and they don't even have range, do they?
Oh my god.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do not. Not yet. Not yet. As Vindicta is able to hold on to his 4th base. Again, SpeCial still is up an entire CC. He's going to be able to get a little bit better positioning here with his tanks. The reinforcements are coming across the map. Looking at the units that SpeCial did lose all of his Vikings, but again, he still has those Liberators, and he's going to be denying all of this mining.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot that can contest the Liberators. SpeCial making at positioning his units extremely well. These Thors cannot get on top of the Liberators without eating a face full of tank shot.
Meanwhile, at the same time, no, a bit of a Hellion run
He
by
gets tank shot.
Yeah, I was trying to go across the map, but it gets cleaned up here. Vindicta losing a lot of units here in a very short period of time, and his economy still has not recovered. He has the workers, but he has to get the mining.
Yeah. He has the workers, they're just kind of unemployed.
Can't
mine.
A little bit here, a little bit. As it looks like SpeCial has left his army a little bit exposed on the right-hand side. Is going to be losing a lot here. He's focusing on the left instead, pushing into all these tanks.
Yeah, does he have enough though? Once again, Vindicta only has 3 tanks defending this location. Now 2 tanks defending this location. But it seems like they were positioned just well enough. Vindicta only loses 7 SCVs. Yeah. Still not ideal, but could have been a lot worse, let me tell you.
Yeah, and he cleans everything up once again. These past couple of minutes here, SpeCial has been very careless with his tanks, and he's been losing a lot of them. And now we are evening up in that tank count. We have a couple of Widowmines being burrowed here in the middle of the map as well. Widowmine shots going off. This is what I mean. We still have Widowmine production. Like, this is how Vindicta approaches his mech style in TVT.
Yeah, I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it, to be honest, but it's kind of working out for him. Yeah. He's trading pretty efficiently against SpeCial.
Yeah, how the turns do table. You know, now he's finally got 5 bases up and running. He's getting into his own Liberator production. Any major advantage that SpeCial once had isn't really there anymore.
Yeah, compared to now Vindicta taking a lead in the air army, but he doesn't have it where it needs to be, though.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, yes, he does.
Yeah, Vindicta's pushing through the middle of the map right now. I don't know if this is the wisest choice. SpeCial going to be able to collapse on this.
Yeah, these are very immobile units right now for Vindicta. He was really hoping that SpeCial would just focus entirely on trying to take out that 5th base of his, but instead, SpeCial rotates around and is able to completely cut off Vindicta here. He even takes out the Thors.
Yeah, exactly. Now he has the momentum. Vindicta losing, what, 3-4 Thors in the middle of the map. It looks like pushing up this ramp is still not going to be able to work out, though. Again, the defender's advantage is a little bit too strong, but here we go. SpeCial double expands. He now recognizes, okay, I can't quite win the game straight away. I'm going to try and expand. I'm going to make sure that I still maintain my economic advantage.
Yeah, he's continuing to make SCVs. Which makes sense. I mean, he doesn't have enough of a bank yet that he can really cut his worker supply and try to get more of an army supply, but he's getting there. He's definitely getting there with all the bases he's got.
Oh, he really is. As once again, he outpositions Vindicta a little bit. Another couple of tank shots going off here in range of the CC. Vindicta, I don't think he can really hold on to this.
Yeah, his Thors just aren't in position to deal with all of these Vikings. His Liberators are slowly being cut out, or apparently not. So he is able to deal with the tanks at the very least. Doesn't lose too many SCVs, but will have to give up this position. Or does he?
Yeah,
or does he?
I think he does. He does have to give up the position. Again, he's not really focusing on tank production right now. His factories are too busy making Thors to deal with all these Vikings. So in a head-on engagement, he's having really hard times. He loses another CC. Stuck on 4 bases once again. But he's going for another Hellion run by, and SpeCial is going to be punished a little bit for these orbitals.
Yeah, this is what happens when you play greedy, I guess. But, counterpoint, if you play greedy enough, you can make up for the fact that you're losing workers to run-bys.
Yeah, you can get away with it. You know, you can get away with it. These Hellions are going to be able to draw the entire army of SpeCial all the way back home. This is going to give Vindicta a little bit of breathing room. He has to reposition his army here to defend the bottom right-hand corner of the map. He's going to try and expand aggressively towar's SpeCial as well.
That's his main base, by the way, that he just lifted up and is floating over. Yeah.
A little bit of a desperation move, but we'll see if he can get it up and running here. A SpeCial actually rotates over towards the middle of the map instead. He is now Max looking at the armies. We have Vindicta in the lead when it comes to Vikings, but SpeCial has double the tank count.
Yeah, and that's really what counts here.
Oh, but he's being forced back.
When it comes to positioning and whatnot, he is, surprisingly.
Yeah, the Cyclones are going to be able to get a lock on. They do get a kill on this CC. Widowmines are going to be able to burrow. And again, this is just buying time for Vindicta.
Yeah, and because of how mobile these Cyclones and these Hellions are compared to these Hellbats that just have to waddle back and forth, Vindicta gets away with that. He doesn't lose any of his army, and now both players are maxed out. I spoke too soon! Nobody expects the random spotting tanks.
No one expects the random siege tanks in the middle of the map. But Vindicta, he gets his base, right? He gets his 5th up. You know, it's fully saturated. SpeCial's now going for a counterattack at the same time. Hellions once again harassing the bottom right. But he's drawing SpeCial towards Vindicta's fresh base.
Yeah, and is that where Vindicta wants to fight right now? It appears so. He's getting ready for it.
Yeah, he's getting ready for it. SpeCial actually comes down here without any of his tanks. Bear that in mind. The tanks are actually seized up in the middle of the map, so he actually can't really fight right now. I think he's realized that he will back off.
No, he's trying to draw Vindicta into the middle of the map. It's going to pay off when he had them siege over there.
It will. As we do see SpeCial rotating once again, looking at the vision of SpeCial, he actually hasn't scouted the bottom right-hand base of Vindicta yet. He doesn't know, and he loses 40 SCVs.
All of a sudden, Vindicta's in a better economic position. SpeCial has the base advantage, but he can't mine from them. He's been the workers.
He's been trying to mine. He's been trying, but these Hellion run-bys, the Cyclone run-bys, the Liberators as well. But here we go. SpeCial, he finds the fresh mining base, and there's no way for any of these SCVs to survive. Ooh.
Oh, they're being herded right into a bunch more Cyclones and Hellions. That was really the Hail Mary for Vindicta, and it was working out for him, but now he's lost it. He has to do something. He has to equalize some of the damage here, and I'm not entirely convinced he can based on what army he's built.
I mean, we'll see, because again, there are no defensive tanks in position for SpeCial. He has them still in the middle of the map, so Vindicta can push on forward here. He is going to be able to trade more efficiently.
He absolutely is. Surprisingly, yeah. Thor's really helping out with their AoE against the Vikings. Vindicta now landing his own Vikings because there's nothing really to attack in the sky. One tank, however, will be able to hold off the hordes of Vindicta's mech units.
Yeah, but you know what? Vindicta has just pulled SpeCial completely apart. These Hellion run-bys have been the MVPs for Vindicta. He does deny the 5th base. There are 2 more other mining bases here for SpeCial, but again, he's just losing workers left and right.
Pretty soon, SpeCial's gonna go bankrupt.
Yeah, he's just running out of workers. He's running out of money. At the same time, Vindicta also needs to expand, and this is his natural, by the way.
Oh,
oh God. Yeah.
He's effectively on 2.5 bases right now.
Vindicta is squeezing the most he can out of these orbitals. No, 2 Blue Flame Hellions are gonna roast so many of these workers.
They're lining up.
Oh my God.
It will save most of them at the very least, but yeah, things still aren't looking too good economically for either player, to be honest. SpeCial does have the upgrade advantage, or some of the upgrade advantage, I should say.
Yeah, he does. He's got 3-3 at the same time. He's going for a massive run-by. He's pulling a Vindicta. He goes in with his Hellions, with his Cyclones. He's going to get a lot of damage done, a lot of economic damage, and Vindicta, with a much slower tank army, cannot keep up.
I have a feeling this is going to come down to mules being the backbone of both players' economies.
Of at least SpeCial. SpeCial's the one with all the orbitals, you know, bear that in mind. SpeCial having 6 compared to the 4 here of Vindicta.
Yeah, that's definitely how he's able to get away with losing so many SCVs, but it is starting to cut into his gas mining right now.
And I think Vindicta's... yeah, I thought he was just going to go all in and push out across the map. He can't hold on to this CC. There is no way. He's going to try and catch these Cyclones so he can at least get something for his troubles. And it looks like he will reset all these Cyclones, but I don't know if he can really take another fight. Not like this.
He does have a much higher army supply, but bear in mind, SpeCial has all of the tanks right now, and they are already sieged in defensive positions. I say that, actually only 2 tanks. And it weren't actually a really good use of the shrubbery here from Vindicta.
Yeah, they actually didn't have vision over the line here. The Vikings are going to push on forward. The Thors dishing out so much DPS in the back line. The tanks of SpeCial have been cleaned up.
Is this actually happening right now?
It could.
Vindicta has the tank advantage, I think.
A lot of the army supply for SpeCial are actually in these Vikings. He's got 14 Vikings, but he's only got 3 tanks.
Yeah, SpeCial's definitely waiting for the moment where he's going to be able to land on top of all these tanks, where he knows that if he does, Vindicta's just going to unsiege and take out all the Vikings. Vikings, when landed, don't do that much damage, but they do a lot of damage against unsieged tanks and Thors, but not as much as Thors and tanks can do against Vikings.
Yeah, meanwhile, one Cyclone is kind of pulled apart here to try and lay siege upon this fresh mining base of SpeCial. He lands all of his Vikings, which I think is a wise move here. Vindicta looking to try to find the best approach to take down this base. Meanwhile, Vindicta, he lifts up his third, takes another base. He's crazy,
yeah.
Poppy. He's crazy.
He's like a nomad right now. Just packs up and moves on. He's just, migrating nomad.
The original 3 bases of Vindicta have all been lifted and they all have new homes. It's crazy. Oh my god.
Why build new bases when you can just pick it up and move it somewhere else?
Just lift
It's
forehead.
working for him.
It is working. We do see SpeCial, you know, trying to do the same thing. He's trying to get some more mining here. Meanwhile, we do see Vindicta trying to find a chink in the armor, trying to find some kind of defense that has been left unattended to. Oh.
Yeah, but he ain't finding it. At least not yet. Vindicta knows that he's not going to be able to reproduce these Thors, so he's just going to try to repair them as much as he can.
Yeah, I'm worried because the longer this goes on, I feel like the better it is for SpeCial here. But the Vikings actually, they get out positioned here. The Vikings all go towards the south, and 2 Liberators are going to be able to clean this up. Vikings, come back home, puppy. Come back home. That's it.
GG is called, and Vindicta with his... What's the opposite of heavy? Light tank style, focusing mostly on Thors, Blue Flame Hellions, and Liberators, with a couple of Widowmines thrown into the mix, is able to defeat his master here in game number 1. This is my first time actually watching this style of mech versus mech, and I cannot believe it worked. It defies all conventional wisdom.
I mean, Vindicta was so mobile with his army. Let's be real here. He just didn't stop the Hellion run-bys, didn't stop the Cyclone run-bys either. He was playing it so scrappy, and I do think that SpeCial was resting on his laurels a little bit. If you remember, it took him a long time to take a 6th and a 7th base, despite having map control, right? Like, SpeCial, for a long time, for the first, like, half of that game, he was kind of choking Vindicta out. If you remember, Vindicta was having a hard time expanding and taking a 4th base. But SpeCial just, it took him a while to really, you know, get further ahead, and Vindicta, that was crazy. That was crazy.
It absolutely was. And on top of that, you know, by the time he did get the 6th and 7th base, he traded inefficiently enough, I guess, that he just had a really hard time fortifying those positions. He lost his tanks earlier on, obviously, so he had to reproduce the tanks and had to slowly wait for them to go to those positions and siege up, and that's exactly why Vindicta was able to just go in with his Blue Flame Hellions and roast mineral line after mineral line. I can't believe I didn't look at the workers lost tab.
I didn't want to.
At the end of that, I have a feeling that there will be a lot of grieving SCV widows at the end of that game.
SpeCial lost a lot of workers, mate. And yeah, you did touch on something that I was just trying to set up the lobby, so I couldn't quite focus on it. But like there were a lot of moments where SpeCial, he was a little bit lacking when it came to his army movement and army positioning, because like we would see him rotate around, but he would quite often leave his tanks behind, and he would end up in these situations where he would kind of need them, and because he didn't have them, he would have to back off, and Vindicta would be able to get away with faster expansions, or you know, again, being in position and trading a little bit better. That was a wild TVT.
It really was. I didn't think a mech v mech could be that exciting, but yeah, we'll see if that continues here on Waterfall, where of course in the top right-hand corner map, so heading all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have our blue Terran player coming on from the land of Mexico and also Korea. He's going to be representing Psystorm Gaming. He is SpeCial.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Waterfall, we have the American Terran player himself, representing the Cranky Ducklings, currently up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. It is Vindicta. The hero lives, mate. All it took was, at the end of the game, 2 Liberators siege up. The Vikings were completely out of position, and that was it. SpeCial tapped out. He was done, mate. Yeah. He was done.
He didn't even, you know, try to send... He tried to send the Vikings out, but then he did some calculations in his head and realized there's no way I can send these Vikings up in time. This is it, mate. GG. What a game number 1. I'm wondering how well Vindicta might be able to ride this momentum. Let's hope that that's what's going to happen, but at the same time, you never want to underestimate SpeCial. There's a reason why, he's dominated Latin America for so long, and kind of been the face of foreign Terran for so long as well.
Yeah, for a very long time, he has been just the best Terran player in North America, Like, it's just been SpeCial. There's a reason why he's been living in Korea. He's been competing in GSL. He's been kind of what every Terran player looks like, at least on this side or in this
like
region.
That, yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that you said that. Yeah, he is what every Terran player looks like. After he worked out. Yeah.
There you go. Looks up to is what I meant to say, but yeah. But now, the turns do table. The student has become the master, or will he? We'll see.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. At the beginning of game number 1, Vindicta did get a few sessions of coaching from SpeCial. I know that that was one tournament, I don't remember which one, where Vindicta was saying, this is a build that I use that was taught to me by SpeCial. And now he's able to take a game off of him. We need to go full circle, though. Because, of course, as we know, SpeCial himself has a bit of a teacher coming out from the military soon.
True. The Grandpappy himself, TY, did bestow upon SpeCial many builds like the one we saw in the previous game. We saw a 2-factory, fast cyclone opening from SpeCial, if you remember. It was crazy. It was wild how aggressive that game was, considering it was a mech versus mech.
I completely forgot that he went 2-factory expand instead of your typical factory extend or anything.
Yeah.
He came in before the lobby was even made.
Yeah.
He came in and he knew, I'm going back this game.
Yeah, he was a man with a plan. In the end, the plan did not work out, but here we go. Vindicta's going to try and force himself up this ramp. Can he break on through and get on top of this building? SCV, it looks like, they will be able to trade a little bit here, but Vindicta comes out a little bit on top. Doesn't get on top of the SCV, though.
Yeah, this one Hellion does have enough health on it to deter the scouting force here of Vindicta. The SpeCial will not be delayed when it comes to his economy.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, Vindicta did have a little bit better micro. He did trade better. He killed 2 Reapers as opposed to his 1. But now that the Cyclone is out, he has to respect this. He's going to back off. And oh my god, we have a very interesting follow-up here as we see a bit of a skirmish. He gets a lock on. Up.
Yeah, and he is able to shoot much quicker. The Hellion, unfortunately, not able to make up for that fact. Vindicta did lose a lot of health in this Cyclone, so he won't be able to push directly in, but already a worthwhile trade.
Definitely, and we are seeing some Beyond openers here. Both players going for Banshees. Only a single Banshee, by the way, and we are not going to get Cloak with this. And the idea is, while we have a big battle going on, while players are a little bit distracted, one Banshee slips in, and it can deal a devastating amount of damage.
Yeah, this is exactly how Vindicta was able to win against M. Canning, but he is playing the same style against SpeCial right now. SpeCial's looking to beat him there. So we'll see if it works out.
Yeah, same builds here. Again, 1 Banshee each. Then we get into the Raven production. No Cloak or anything like that. We'll see how they respond to each other. Again, just mirroring each other in many ways. I guess the biggest differential is that we do see a 3rd CC on the way for SpeCial. Vindicta still hasn't thrown his down.
Yeah, Vindicta looking to be a bit more aggressive, it seems. But SpeCial, who is playing this out more economic focused.
Oh, exactly. 2 SCVs are going to be going down. SpeCial does shoot first. At the same time, in comes Vindicta. Can he equalize that damage? Can he deal even more damage as he already gets 1? He, gets 2, gets 3, gets 4. Oh my god.
All right, well, yeah, that's overtaking the damage count. But if he loses his Banshee, will it be worth it? I would say so. Technically, that's, a equal trade, but at the same time, SpeCial still has his Banshee alive, still able to get more damage done later down the line.
Yeah, that's the thing. 1 Banshee for 6 SCVs is pretty good here for Vindicta, but SpeCial can still get more damage. He can still get more value as he's sending everything he has across the map. What do we have in total? We got 1 tank, a Raven, a Banshee, 2 Cyclones, and a bunch of Marines.
Man, I thought Vindicta was the one going to be aggressive here.
Oh, I thought so as well, but the defensive position is looking quite powerful for Vindicta. He's got the high ground, he's got his tanks in position as well, he's got a couple of Ravens for those disables. Looks like SpeCial doesn't really intend to break his opponent, just going to contain his opponent as he takes his own third.
Yeah, no need to take any unnecessary risks right now. If you're special, the last thing you want to do is walk up into a ramp when there are 3 tanks waiting behind that.
Yeah, exactly, and he knows better here. He also needs to buy a little bit more time so his Ravens have enough energy for those disables. Third CC's going to be on the way soon. There we go. Special is going to be landing his on location safely because of this contain. We didn't really get to talk much about it, but we are, of course, on Waterfall, one of the smaller maps in the map pool. That means if any of these players does get a little bit of momentum, they can push across the map incredibly quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot fewer bases here on Waterfall. Things are going to heat up a lot quicker compared to Tropical Sacrifice, and they're already heated up very quickly on that map.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, it looks like Special is getting ready to push on in. He has enough energy for these disables. I don't know how I feel about this. Vindicta has kind of sieged up in a way where he has blocked himself up, but there we go. He does on siege. He does back off.
Yeah, he knows he has to retreat and take a more defensible position right now, but unfortunately it does mean that he is giving up on landing that third base at the moment. Yeah. Special enjoying a much healthier economy as a result of that.
Exactly. You know, Special, he's getting fully saturated on 3 bases, just containing his opponent ever more. We're waiting for the moment where Vindicta can break on out. He is working on his Vikings. He's working on his Marauders here. He wants to push on in, but Special getting a pretty good position here. Is he in range? Oh, yeah, he's in range of the depots at least.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Banshees are providing a lot of assistance against the tanks. Special controlling the skies once again. Vindicta only has 2 Vikings out at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Special going for his patented double starport build here, just making a mass amount of these Vikings. Going to be able to take control of the skies and perpetually be ahead in that Viking count.
Yeah, this is a lot of tanks that Vindicta has, but again, Special just never needs to move in. Both players pulling their disables on the Ravens at the same time, but of course Special, with his air advantage, is able to take advantage of that. That was a very questionable move out here from Vindicta, but I get it. He was feeling pressured to break that siege. GG, Special evens up our series, sideways 1-1.
GG, Vindicta. He was kind of diving in from a bit of an angle there to try and disable as many tanks as possible, but his own Ravens got disabled. We saw one of those Ravens with a decent amount of energy there, just wasn't able to do anything, and yeah, he committed to breaking out of the contain. Didn't work in the end.
Yeah, and now there's a lot more potential for contains, or rather, to be on the inside. Or to break. Wasn't sure where I was going with that. Inside and out is our next map. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, it is our next map. Can we quickly? There we go. We can set up the lobby correctly here as we get into the ace match. We're getting into game number 3. That double starport build, by the way, from Special, I have noticed that he is quite fond of it on smaller maps like Waterfall, Moondance, and this third map as well, Inside and Out.
Yeah, we'll see if Vindicta has anything prepared for it, or if Special is going to dominate the skies and therefore the game once again. We'll see as we load into Inside and Out. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have our blue Terran player hailing from the land of Mexico and flying on out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Psystorm Gaming. He is Special.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Inside Now, we have the American Terran representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Vindicta. Last game just being starved out there on 2 bases. He just couldn't really break free. A very abusive style there from Special. And again, he's quite fond of it. I want to say either he or TY came up with that build and popularized it a little bit.
Look, at a certain point, they kind of went into business together.
Yeah.
Their brains merge. Nobody knows if Special had the idea or if TY had the idea. It's much easier to say that they both had it simultaneously.
There you go. They are both one and the same. Oh, and Vindicta a little bit paranoid. He does scout for the proxy racks location here outside his main base. Just making sure he doesn't get cheesed out here in the ace match.
Yeah, I can't say I blame him. Special is definitely a very ballsy player. He is a player who does not hesitate to go for a cheese in the ace match.
Oh yeah, he is more than willing to. So very Maru-esque in that way. We've seen him even just every single game in the series just cheese. Whether it works or whether it doesn't, he will do it.
And you know, at a certain point, it works just enough that he ends up winning the whole tournament.
Yeah, definitely can. As we're getting into some pretty standard openers here, you know, both gases are being taken. We're taking out factories as well. Vindicta does hide his SCV from that Reaper successfully, so he will be able to dip on in a little bit later for a follow-up scout.
Yeah, okay, not yet. He is just being patient for the time being. Going to see how SpeCial maneuvers his own Reaper. There we go.
Yeah, especially he just dips on in, gets an eye on the natural base, dips on out. He's going to push up this ramp, and Vindicta does shoot first. Will force SpeCial back.
Nicely done. Nice, a full-on scout right now. Yeah, I'm just looking at, you know, the production tab, looking at everything that both our players are making, but I'm just keeping one eye down on that SCV of Vindicta. Vindicta, meanwhile, he looks like he's going for the coffee build with the reacted Reapers and with more and more Hellions. I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, I know it's your go-to.
Yeah.
It may even be the only thing you do in TVT.
Yep.
Calling you out a little bit.
It's not only the only thing I do, it's the only thing I know how to do.
It's the only thing I know, Papi. I only know coffee. So you have a little bit of a skirmish. Ooh, Vindicta. They do trade Reapers in the end with the help of this Hellion. SpeCial will barely be able to get away, but losing one of these Reapers early on is pretty significant. Vindicta wants to try and force himself up this ramp with a mass amount of Reapers and Hellions.
And the early game of a TVT, you know, that one Reaper can make the difference. It could very well be the last unit standing, but as long as it's alive, you can still harass your opponent.
And here we go. I love that the SCV does go up the ramp first, just in case there was a Widowmine, even to try and bait out a lock-on as well. Speaking of, we do have a lock-on on that Hellion. The rest of the Reapers are making their way across the map, and we'll see if Vindicta can dive and try and get this Cyclone before things get a little bit too out of control.
Yeah, even with a lock-on, well-placed KD8 charges can definitely turn the tide in Vindicta's favor. 4 Reapers versus 2 Cyclones, that's a little bit tougher.
Exactly. There was an opening, there was a window where there was only one Cyclone, and maybe Vindicta could have been able to snowball, but now that there are 2 Cyclones, SpeCial has successfully defended. We are now going to transition from here, and once again, Banshees.
Yeah, coming out from both players. Definitely appreciate it as a follow-up, but yeah, just because of how the openings went, Vindicta needed to do damage, and because he didn't, SpeCial's going to have a much easier time, a much more fun time with these Banshees and with that economic lead than Vindicta is.
He really is. Like, the pressure is more so on Vindicta to deal damage. The Banshee's going to slip on in towards the natural base. We do have Marines and we do have Cyclones, but they're not quite in position, and Vindicta is going to be losing a lot of mining time here.
Yeah, once again, that economic... I was going to say economic damage, but SpeCial is only now doing economic damage. The deficit is going to continue to snowball. Decent defense here from Vindicta, I'll say. Only losing 3 SCVs and is able to kill that Banshee, but still, he's going to do a lot. He's going to need to do a lot more to catch back up.
Exactly, and he's getting ready for it. He does have, you know, a small army here just waiting outside his main base, but Banshee on the right-hand side. He has a lot of Reapers on the left-hand side as well, so he's going to be looking to go, I imagine, for a little bit of multi-prong harassment. We'll see if he can break on through, because SpeCial, likewise, is already defending both his main and his natural.
Yeah, but he's only defending his natural with ground units and his main from air units. Then again, I mean, I guess you can't get in the main with ground units, can you? Even with a drop, you have to fly it over.
The Reapers are going to look to try and go up this Reaper cliff, but I mean, Cyclones are pretty good against that as well, so we'll see if Vindicta can break through the defenses. Meanwhile, both players are working on their 3rd CCs. We're going to be expanding. We should be getting into the mid-game here, as Vindicta, what a nice, beautiful spread, has units all over the map to make sure he catches any kind of drop.
Oh, so much vision. It's like he has map hacks on.
Both,
but he doesn't. It's Marines.
The Marines, mate. They're basically map hacks. It's crazy.
It's true, yeah.
Asher's having a nightmare
right now. Make Marines like tanks where their range is actually further than they can see.
All right, here we go. Finally, the third base is being taken. Vindicta hasn't pulled the trigger yet with this Banshee. We do have a missile turret in position here. We do see that SpeCial is trying to spend out his own Marines. Ooh, oh my god, the mule? SpeCial. I'm pretty sure that was a misclick.
It absolutely was. You want to scan to see if there was an army behind that.
Yeah.
But man, what a dominant, what a power move.
A misclick until we get confirmation otherwise.
Yeah.
As we see SpeCial pushing out across the map here, Vindicta does have eyes on this. He's able to siege up in time, but SpeCial does have that advantage in Ravens.
Yeah, some well-placed disables or even some well-placed auto turrets will absolutely shut down the defensive positioning of Vindicta right now. SpeCial, he is being very patient though, and he has to be patient. That opening that allows you to really throw down those auto turrets and throw down those disables only presents itself in a very short window.
It really does. Meanwhile, Vindicta, he does get eyes on the rocks as they are being destroyed, so he's going to be able to keep up with this rotation, but SpeCial is pushing in hard here. We are equal in the tank count. The Ravens, I feel like, are the biggest difference, the differentiating factor, as we do have a disable.
Yeah, 2 disables, 1 on the Raven of SpeCial and 1 on the tank. That actually makes a pretty big difference, but yeah, it looks like Vindicta overestimated his bio army there, and they did get chewed off. Oh, chewed off? No. Destroyed by the tank SpeCial is what I meant
chewed up
to say. Chewed up. There we go. Look, up, off, yeah, both directions.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it, Poppy. Don't worry about
it. You know.
Yeah, I do think that Vindicta did trade a little bit more efficiently there. He did trade out tanks versus Marines, so it was beautiful nonetheless. I'm sure he would have loved to have dominated that fight a little bit better, but regardless, it did go in his favor. But SpeCial is not stopping with the macro. He's rotating around. He's trying to find another way in.
He's rotating around. He has the reinforcements. He has the upgrade advantage now. Oh, right now, this is SpeCial's battle to lose, but Vindicta's definitely making it tough on him with this tank positioning.
Oh, I love these unsieges, by the way. Vindicta, he was anticipating a couple of disables on his closest tanks. He is able to reposition at the same time. SpeCial also repositioning to cover that ramp.
Yeah, unfortunately for SpeCial, there isn't quite anything over on the side to chip away at, but it does zone out the rest of Vindicta's army. SpeCial going in for a bit of a drop, and Vindicta falls into the tank trap a little bit.
Yeah, Vindicta's bleeding out a lot of Marines here. He has to be very careful with his rally. Another medevac gets picked up as well. At the same time, SpeCial, he's sending a couple of reinforcements across the map. He's got to drop ready to either go into the main base or maybe even try and collapse on the army of Vindicta.
Yeah, he can really go either way right now. He has a massive army supply lead. These missile turrets are just a bit too late here for Vindicta to really prevent this.
Yeah, he's going to try and dive on top of these tanks. Can he do so? The reinforcements are not going to be enough. GG gets called. SpeCial gets into the main base, and SpeCial takes game number 3 and the series.